Brought to you by Penguin.
Clive Cussler's Condor's Fury by Graham Brown. Read by Scott Brick.
Prologue. Cuba. Arcos, Cuba. An old Russian-made SUV sped through the tiny Cuban village of Arcos on a humid afternoon. Dilapidated buildings lined the streets. Telephone poles leaned over at odd angles as if they were about to fall. With the sun dropping low, the SUV raced around a curve near the outskirts of town, narrowly missing a wild dog that had strayed too far from the gutter. Martin Colon glanced in the rearview mirror. The stray dog had spun around and darted away just in time. It was now cowering in the weeds beside an old building beneath faded images of the Cuban and Soviet flags. "How far to the lab?" a voice said beside him. Colon looked over at the man in the passenger seat. Ernesto Molina was a politician and a member of the Central Committee in Havana. He was something of a roughneck, willing to throw his weight around and bluster. He was also an influential force, heading up the Counter-Espionage Commission, a group charged with finding traitors and spies. Colon had gone to great lengths to keep him as an ally, but the relationship was fraying. 3 miles from here, Colon said. Molina tugged at the collar of his wrinkled olive-drab field jacket. Like many in the Cuban government, Molina chose to wear a military uniform, hoping to be seen as a leader of the revolution. Colon was the opposite. He wore only civilian clothes, despite being a full colonel in the Cuban Intelligence Directorate and a former pilot in the Air Force. "And you're sure the Americans are coming?" Molina asked. Colon was certain. "My sources tell me a raid will happen any day now." Molina didn't like this. The specter of American soldiers on Cuban soil was both terrifying and infuriating. He blamed Colon for the danger. "I warned you about this project. The committee has always been wary of it, but I backed you. In return, you've taken things too far. Kidnapping an American scientist, running experiments on human subjects. What madness is this?" "The American came willingly," Colon explained, offering a half-truth. "The test subjects were political prisoners, traitors. Your committee would have ordered at least half of them to face a firing squad if I hadn't taken them off your hands." "You've been reckless," Molina snapped, "and now you have to face the consequences." Colon remained calm and in control. He was far less worried than his political passenger, and he'd been anything but reckless. "And just what consequences are you talking about?" "You've run out of rope," Molina said. "We're shutting you down. The materials and research will be moved to a military base where they'll be properly guarded, if not destroyed." "Destroyed?" "Yes," Molina replied. "Some members of the committee consider your work an abomination. Others consider it a threat. And now they alone will decide what to do with it." Colon's jaw tightened, but it was all for show. His informants had told him of the growing unease in the committee long ago. He was prepared for the news. He was prepared for everything. He glanced to the west. The sun was about to dip behind the mountains. If he was right, a squad of commandos from the U.S. Navy would arrive sometime after dark. "It's a good thing the Americans are coming," he said. Molina looked at him as if he'd misheard. "Why do you say that?" "Because I need the world to blame them for what I'm about to do." With a jerk of the steering wheel, Colon whipped the vehicle to the left. Molina, who wasn't wearing a seatbelt, was thrown against a door that hadn't closed securely for years. The door flew open with the impact. Molina went sailing through it and out onto the dirt road. He tumbled more than slid, arms and legs windmilling until he came to rest in a thicket of weeds that had grown.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?